Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's webinar presentation, Build Low-Code Applications Using Apex, brought to you by Oracle. I would like to introduce you to our presenter. Rodney is a cloud specialist at Oracle with a primary focus on low-code development, UX, and digital experience. Enable customers to quickly innovate and adopt their business applications to meet increasing demands of their business users by adopting multi-experience development platforms.
Okay, great, fantastic. Thank you for the introduction and good afternoon, everyone. And thank you for attending to this exciting webcast on build low-code applications using Apex. As you already know, my name is Rodney Savirono, and I'm a cloud specialist at Oracle, focusing on application development and especially for the topic today on low-code application development. Now, for today, what we're going to talk about is these particular topics that I've prepared for this session. Yeah? So we're going to talk about actually what is low code and what and how does it add value. And most probably some of you are already familiar with low code, but I just wanted to address how this could potentially be very valuable for your organization and going to a local development route. Furthermore, of course, I'm going to talk about our low-code development platform. And of course, I'm going to also show you how it actually works and how you can actually start rapidly developing applications within our Application Express, also known as Apex, right? And from there, I'm going to share with you some other resources where you can get more information and where you can find lots and heaps of videos for you to get familiar with it. And especially there, you can also get started. So we will share some resources as well where you can sign up for a free trial, or you can actually go and install or request an Apex installation for you to actually play with. Yeah. Now let's continue. Now, first of all, what we're going to look into is like if we actually look into a study that has been done by Gartner, right? Continuous digital business demand will actually accelerate the digital application delivery, right? And it's actually driving a lot of enterprises to scale up their development practice, their citizen development, their UX design, architecture, platform technologies, and also the quality of the practices, as this is a very high priority, especially for those top performing organizations. Now, you might work in an organization, or you might have seen organizations that have thousands and thousands of applications that have actually developed along those years to actually support their businesses, right? And the trouble and the challenges there is that maintaining those applications, which are typically built in all different types of platforms or frameworks or languages, it really required them to have all these skill sets in place. And as you can see, major share of the IT budget is actually on those applications. Now, meeting the challenges of digital economies will require these organizations to increase the responsiveness to the business needs. So you will need to be able to start developing or extending those applications in a very short time frame, especially today with the digital economy. So this is kind of a challenge for application development leaders, as it means that they need to accelerate the development, the maintenance, and of course the quality of the applications, right? That needs to be maintained. So now with a lower or a smaller workforce, especially with remote work, etc., this can be a very challenging task. Now, if we look into organizations and enterprises, when are they actually start building new applications, or why are they thinking about starting building their own applications? First of all, if you look into commercially off-the-shelf applications, right? Maybe there's a need to extend those applications to meet the business requirements, or if there's an application that has a more like a legacy type of user interface, and it doesn't really cater for all the different types of channels of experiences, right? Like the mobile or whatever. You will probably think about like, how can I start building new applications or modernizing it. Whether they look into the current application ecosystem, right? Is it the legacy? We have support for browser. We have support for mobile development, right? We don't have the skills. How do we get and build those kind of application functions within these legacy applications? So there's another part where organization will think about what should I do. And of course, if you have so many applications, then most likely applications have like touch points on functionality, and you would like to see, in order to streamline your application ecosystem and streamline and being able to consolidate those into smaller applications or applications that actually takes over all these functionalities as well. And of course, if you have new business requirements and COTS applications are not available, then what do you do, right? Are you going to build them, and how are you going to build them? And the business is asking for you to deliver fast. And this is where the challenges are typically within an organization, especially from us being in an IT as an IT business user, we have to start looking into like how can we easily and quickly deliver, right, those ideas and challenges that the business users have, and how can we make that and meet those requirements and build those within the limited budgets that the CEOs has given us, right? Are we looking into cloud, or are we looking into tools that makes it easier for us, right? And as you know, right, as a developer, in a traditional application development, the development team is doing the heavy lifting. We are building the applications, and we have to move them to production to go live. Now, in order to actually build an application, what are the things that we actually need, right? We need the underlying infrastructure. We need an application container where the application can run into. We need a compute, we need storage, we need database if we want to store any database. Furthermore, once that has been provisioned and has been made available to us, then we're going to start building the application, right? The business objects, the user management, look and feel, etc. All these things are all required. Now, in a traditional way, this is a lot of coding that we need to do, right? Now, what are the challenges when we do those coding, right? There's lines of code that we need to make. And because of that, there's time to market will be probably delivering those applications will take probably what longer than we would like to develop it. We need to take care of multi-channel support if we build an application. We need to make sure that the infrastructure is ready, the infrastructure is available, and we need to be able to manage those infrastructure as well. And what about code ownership, right? And changes, how do we implement those easily and get that done quickly and being able to manage those? And of course, if the application is becoming popular within the organization, then how do we scale to more users? And how do we make sure that's available not only for internal workers, but also people that are working remotely? How do we give access to those applications? Which will actually help us to address these application development challenges, right? By introducing like a development platform, which is a low-code development platform. Now, what is actually low-code, right? According to the Wikipedia, low-code development platform is software that provides an environment to programmers to use to create application software through graphical user interface and for configuration instead of traditional computer coding, right? So providing you like things such as development with minimum hand coding, drag and drop style configurations, and also create applications that are accessible through web interface and also mobile interface. Yeah. Now, if you would take a look at how low-code visual application development would run into the cloud, it will give you additional benefits, right? You'll be able to scale. You don't have to manage all the bandwidth and the runtime infrastructure. You can extend other SaaS or on-premise applications. You have the ability to build both web and mobile on-device UIs. and you have the ability to actually develop application quickly, right? So all these kind of like challenges that you typically have setting up development environments, setting up UATs, and setting up production environments will all be done through basically single click. Now let's illustrate that more in detail. If we look into a traditional development lifecycle, like in general, we can um, partition this into four pieces, right? So we have the planning section, where we think about, what infrastructure we need, what is the language that we're going to use, and how do we provision it, and where do we get those resources from, right? The second one is like coding and unit testing, right? You need to code your application, you need to test it, and you need to make sure that you can share it. Then once you have done your development, you're going to deploy and deliver it into like a development of a delivery environment or production environment. And once there are new changes coming in, you need to manage and deploy all these and make all these changes there. Now, if you look at the top part is where we look into all the different activities that's required for in traditional approach, or traditional coding approach, right? Now, if you look at the bottom, it's like how low code could actually help you to simplify and to reduce time and effort in deploying or working around those different steps, right? So if you look at the planning for provisioning and environments on the cloud and with the low-code environment, it takes minutes instead of weeks, right? So because it's a single click and you actually provision your development environment, and you can do the same thing with the UAT and test and production. It takes 75% less effort to actually start developing, because there's a lot of components that you can use and reuse that are already available out of the box, out of the box of a local development tool. There's modules that can be used and repurposed, and you're actually using visual development for that. Now, once you need to deploy and deliver, it's basically a single click, as it will also provide you a runtime environment to actually run and deploy your application. And when it comes to managing and changing, it still takes like 75 less effort, right, to do those changes. As as you're using drag and drop, you're not creating too much like custom code. You don't have to really understand the code itself, because you're actually moving around components and reconfiguring components and building it out. Yeah? So it's easier to track and easier to maintain those type of applications. Okay, now let's talk about our local development platform, right? So what I want to introduce you, Apex, right? So Apex is an all-in-one local platform that basically helps you to eliminate the complexity, and it's use a low-code application development approach. This is to easily build scalable and secure data-driven web and mobile web applications. It is available on all Oracle databases, whether it's running on-premise or in any cloud, or any cloud actually. Well, Apex can also help you to transform basically your spreadsheets to web applications in minutes. It can accelerate your development by providing what we call the out-of-the-box production-ready productivity apps that you can use and reuse. And we provide a lot of sample applications to give you more understanding on how you can utilize the built-in features and components like data visualization components, interactive grids to actually manage your data. You can also leverage your SQL skills to actually build more advanced applications and make use of the Oracle Converge database, as it provides other functionalities like modern data types, spatial graph, and also it provides some machine learning features. So what is actually Apex then on Oracle Cloud Infrastructure? It's actually helps you to build and host your applications on our infrastructure. And what we do there, we actually go a step further. with our autonomous database, right? We are making it simple, and Apex and all the tooling is provisioned automatically. There's zero installation for you to do yourself, and it's actually available within minutes, right? So it really accelerates, setting up your and planning your development. Now, what are the other business values that it can give you? So first of all, instant provisioning, one click, no installation, no deployment, no configuration. There's also easy migration of your Apex application if you have Apex running or your existing Apex user on premise, and there's no maintenance for Apex. It's lightweight, it's scalable, and it's optimized for performance. So all these things like auto patching on all layers, like operating system, database, well, Apex as always will have the latest software, right? Because Oracle will take care of that. And it's scalable, and it provides automatic archiving and backup and DR. It provides you a lower total cost of ownership as a business user. Existing Oracle database customers, you can actually use their existing licenses, and you will actually save on infrastructure and all these different associated costs. And the good thing about this is that developers can actually access the environment immediately once it's provisioned. You don't have to, wait for the hardware to arrive, etc., etc. Now we've learned a bit about Apex, right, and our low-code tool. Now let's actually show you a demo, right, on how we can actually start building applications in Apex. Now, first of all, what I'm going to do here is, as an overview, right, I'm going to show you a quick overview of provisioning and creating a workspace. Then I'm going to actually show you how you can actually start creating and building an application based on a spreadsheet. Within that application that has been generated for us, I'm going to show you how we can improve some of the UI components in there, like the faceted search, which is a capability in there, improve some of the reporting and the forms in there, and then linking the calendar to be more interactive. Then I'm going to talk to you about and show you how you can actually start customizing the user interface. As you can really change the user interface as you would like to have it. I'm going to introduce theme roller, template options, and also show you how you can actually start building a mobile UI. And at the end, what I'm going to do extra as well is actually show you that if you are running or building an application on our database, how can you actually expose the data into consumable APIs that you can use for other purposes, right? So I'm going to show you as well some of those capabilities in there. All right, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to actually change. I'm going to switch to the browser. So just give me a minute. All right. So what I'm going to do first, I'm going to show you on, where can we actually go and provision our database. Now, what you see here is basically our Oracle Cloud infrastructure. And as you can see here, you can actually set up compute instances, block storage, file storage, networking. Now, in our case, because Apex is actually running on top of our database, or actually it is a database feature to be more specific, I've actually set up a autonomous transaction processing database. All right, so I've actually created it here. And as you can see here, once I have actually started creating it, it will give me the different tooling. It will give me SQL Web developer web tooling. It will give me some machine learning user administration and some tooling to actually implement some of the machine learning capabilities within the database. It provides SODA drivers, but it's also provisions like Oracle Application Express, right, which is our Apex. Now, if you click here on open, then it will actually take us to the login screen of Apex, right here. And actually you can actually go and log in. Now I've actually logged in already. So let me just close this one here. So let me just refresh that I have a new session. So once I log in, I actually log in into Apex. Now what we see here is the functionalities, this application builder. We have SQL workshop, team developer, and app gallery, right? Now this is a dark mode interface, but let me actually go into light mode, which is most probably easier to see for you at this time of the day. So what we do here is, first of all, what we want to do is actually build an application. Now, in order to build an application, you need to start working on, okay, what kind of data and how do I want to actually build the data on, right? So what I do here in my example, I click on the application builder and I say, okay, let me just create a new application. As you can see here, you can actually create new applications based on a data schema that you already have in the database, or from a file. And it could be a Excel file with your data in there. And we basically import it and it will create the table for you. And then it is the thing that I'm going to show you here today. Of course, there's productivity apps that I spoke about. Those are like out of the box applications that you can, use and extend. Now, these productivity applications are quite cool, fully production ready application that you can just take and use. Now, in my example here, I'm going to create actually a application from a spreadsheet that I have. Now, let me just open up my spreadsheet. So I've got a spreadsheet here that give me data on the product, sales dates, sale to email, etc. Now, this is just data that is coming from the spreadsheet. Now, what I'm going to do here, I'm going to actually choose and import that spreadsheet. Yeah. So I'm going to go back to So I'm actually loading up the spreadsheet within Apex, and it will actually identify all the different columns and the data that is in the spreadsheet. The only thing I need to do is to actually give a table name. I'll call this table name DZone for today's webcast. Right. So what I can do here, I can then choose, what kind of primary key to use and how to store the data within the database. And of course, here a view of the data that's going to be loaded. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is actually start loading the data into the table that I named DZone. So it recognized that there are 105 rows within that table. And now what you can see here, I can go and view the table, but I can go directly to start creating an application. Now, when I click on that, Apex will actually design a blueprint, right, based on the table that you've imported. Now, what it will help you to do as well, it will actually suggest a few pages that you can actually start using, right? And it will actually create interaction in there. Now, for example, it creates a home page, of course, a dashboard page with some data that it actually gets from the database, a search, reporting, and the calendar. And there are other features that are being built or being created for you as well, which is an about page, some configuration options, so you can basically create like an admin control or an admin field, admin section within your application. There's some activity reporting that you can enable, etc. So I'm going to check them all in. You can also go and choose what kind of what kind of appearance you want to have. Maybe Peter Red menus. I can choose side menu or top menu. So let me just side menu and save the changes. Now what to do next? I'm going to go and create the application. So what does Apex do for you? It will actually go and generate all these pages for you, the navigation, the structure, and it will use the data that you have imported to actually create those views. So you can see here, it actually generated quite a set of pages. And these are not only pages that reflect data, but also pages or functionality that actually goes you to key in data. Now, in a way, you're kind of like ready to go, right? So if I click on play here, so let me just close some of my tabs to make it easier. provide you already like a login screen, right? So all the applications that you build have by default provides like authentication. Now you can select what type of application you want to implement. You can connect it to your Active Directory or whatever kind of authentication method you use, but you can also use the built-in out-of-the-box identity service that we have within Apex on our autonomous database. So I just sign in with my own account. And as you can see here, this is the application that's actually built. Now we have the navigation, we have the dashboard, and all these data is actually getting the data from the data you have imported from your Excel sheet, right? So discount percentage, units sold. Of course, you can go and modify these as well, right? I can go to the search. So this is the search page. You can actually go and search through all these the data that you have imported. There is a faceted search, so it gives you automatically filters, etc. So all these kind of things are done for you out of the box. Yeah, if you actually create this application. Of course, there's like reports, which is giving you access here. You can go and edit. Yeah, you can go and edit these applications and these views, and of course there's a calendar as well. Yeah, now what I'm going to do here is first how can we actually optimize some of the UIs here. Now if I click on edit, I can see here, I can go and see what are the unit costs, unit sold, discount, shipper, etc. Right, I can also go and create a new record, sale date, unit sold, discount percent. Yeah, so what I'm going to do here is let's go and modify one of these 8 items of screens here. So what I can do here, I can go and click on my bar. If you notice here, this is basically the edit bar that we have. I can click on quick edit, and I can actually go and select which kind of field I want to manage or edit here, right? So for example, I have the federal shipping. So what I can do here, I can edit this template, and I can go and change the different options here. But what I want to do here is I actually want to I want to edit this page. We'll open up how the page has been structured, right? So for shipper, for example, right? What I can do here, instead of for shipper that we actually key in the shipper, what we can do here is basically created like a drop down for it. Yeah. So in that case, what I say, okay, this is not a text field, but this is going to be like a what's it called? It's going to be a select list. Yeah, and for this select list, I can have like a list of values, or I can actually say, okay, this should be a select list of a query, right? So I can then say like, okay, select select this thing, the status as return value of from task. Now in this case, it is it's not task database, but let me see, not status, but shipper. So let me just take a look at into the object, so I can go into the object to see what values it is. Yeah, so I'm going to go into my DZone table, and I can see that the shipper, right? So this is the column value shipper, and if I look into the data, shipper, yeah, you have the federal shipper and you got the speedy shipping, right? So I need to have shipper so I can build my query. So I'm going to go back to my application. Let me just go back to here. and I edit this page 4. Yeah, for shipper, I want to change this into a select list. It's going to be a query, right? And the query will be select distinct shipper, right? As display shipper, and then the status would be as return value. Yeah. Okay, and then from my DZone table. Okay, so this is a query. So what I can do here is then I can actually go and test my query. Right. Oh, sorry. Okay, test. Okay, so now it's successful, and I click on OK. So now when I save and I go and run my application again, so let me just close here and I run this. Then you can see that shipper has turned into a drop down. So we can actually choose which shipper we can actually select here for this particular value. Yeah. So this is one of the easiest way to actually go and start changing those things and start enhancing your application. Now, for within the reporting, for example, what we can do here is we can just change some of the views in here. So, for example, I would like to group, right? So I would like to maybe group it by product, right? And what I can do here is maybe the sum of the unit cost, or sorry, unit sold, right? And then the mask would be this. So I can then hit apply, right? So now I can actually go and I call it make these changes by product, right? So I can add another grouping. I could maybe group also maybe a sum by discount percentage. Yeah, so then I have different tables in here, right? So here I can go and usually go and format this, and we can then go and save these views. So if I go into reports, I can save these views, and then everybody who project view, for example, and then everyone who actually goes and log into this application will get this particular default view that you have created, right? Now, the other thing that we can do with calendars, we can actually go and link calendars in here for all the different dates. So it's kind of like, you get all the different functionalities that you can go and change. Yeah. Now, folks, so what we can do here is the next thing we can do is take a look at the administration, right? And what I want to show you here is like how can we actually go and customize the view and the look and view of this. Now, as you can see here, we have quick edits and we have Team Roller. Now, Team Roller will give you the ability to actually go and start styling your application. Of course, you have your styles that you have out of the box, but in the case that you want to style it in your own look and feel, you can do it. So for example, I would like to have a logo. All right, so this logo would be, an image and text. So I just go and upload a logo into my application, and I give the text DZone webcast, and I go and save the logo. Right, as you can see, it's like it's a red logo, but let's go and change the theme style a bit. All right, so I can go here and I can go and change it accordingly. Okay, so if I change the header accent, it will also change the accents of all the different colors as well, right? Body accents, etc. Link colors, I can change the link colors here. I can also change the way the navigation will look like. Now, the cool thing about this is what it will help you as well is if the colors don't complement each other, then it will actually give you a contrast information. So for example, if you have a dark link for your text and you have a dark background, then it will actually give you, right? It will actually show you that it's not the contrast ratio failed, right? So those are the things that it will actually help you as well whenever you are going to set up your navigation. All right, so here we have the theme roller to actually go and make changes to the overall theme. Now I didn't save it, so let me just go and save it actually. Let's go and change it again. So I got my logo, the theme style. I'm gonna save this theme style as, yeah, okay. So now we have this new theme style. We already saved it, and we can actually apply this then to the theme, right? I did change it. So did I change? Save as current. Okay. All right. So now it's saved as current. Yeah. So we have made changes. So we can make changes to all the different colors in here as well. Now, the other thing that we can do is a quick edit. For example, I would like to see, no, sorry, I clicked on the wrong button. For quick edits, I would like to change maybe the look and feel of this region. So I can just say like, what is the header? I can hide it. I can create an accent color, say accent color 3. All right. So here you got the different accent colors that you can actually give, and of course you can make changes to different features. What kind of list it should be, a large or default grid icon, right? So here you can actually go and modify the look and feel and the control of how these components can look like. And of course, what you can do as well, you can do it in one go. So what you can do is I can edit this page, right? And you can see here the structure of the page. I can go and say like, I want to change all these configurations. So I can multi-select and I can go change the appearances here on the right-hand side. You can also specify your own CSS classes, etc. Right? Further, you can change the look and feel. So I can say, okay, I would like to have these into side-by-side column. Let's see, of this activity report, I might want to have it in here, right? So you can actually go and create the different columns. So if I would save it and I would take a look into the application itself, that you can see here that you kind of like change like in the 3-column way. Yeah. So you can make all these different changes using, drag and drop and modifying it. Okay. Now this is kind of like quickly like how you can, build your application. Now I can also go and change navigations. So I go back to my application and change the navigation is to a mobile navigation. I just go to my application properties. And within my application properties, I have all different kind of properties that I can change and select. So for example, I can go into user interface, and with the user interface, I can go and change what kind of navigation I would like to have. Side navigation, or a mega menu, or even like a top navigation, or top tabs, right? So I can do tabs and with display labels and without display labels. So if I apply the changes to my application and I go back to preview this application, I can see that the navigation, right, have tabs. So it's kind of like I need to refresh this. Yeah, so it just didn't take the right setting. Let me just go and change it back. Yeah, so here's where with these application properties, you can go and change let me see, navigation. Let me do the mega menu, which is quite interesting. Right. And of course, I mean, like, so this is like, mega menu. If you have multiple or sub menus in here, then you can actually go and see that. Yeah. Yeah. So this is like, in short, like, how you can actually start building an application from a spreadsheet, a data, and how you can actually go and start extending it. Now, the other thing that I spoke about was once you have your data within, your database, how can I make use of the data in other channels or in other applications that I create? Now, what we can do here in SQL Workshop, we actually go and take our database, our table, DZone, and what we can do here is we can actually go and enable this as a REST endpoint. So what I can do here, I can click on yes, no authorizations just for demo purpose. And what it actually does, it actually has created a REST endpoint for you that you can actually go and test. Now, let me just go and test it into browser. Okay, I have some connection pool issue on my instance. Sorry for that. So what you can do here is actually go and create your REST endpoints. From there, you can also go and build and create your own enabled REST services. So for example, here we have HR, right? So you can actually go and create your own endpoints, get and put, and create different handlers for that, right? So all this functionality is all available. Whenever you start using Apex, you want to extend it with Apex. Yeah. So that kind of like concludes my demo for today. So let's switch back to my presentation. Right. So what we have seen is that Apex is actually quite easy to actually start building an application, right? So it can actually done in 2 steps if you have your data right, and you don't need any additional changes to be made, right? Simple as, you import your data, either upload it or copy and paste your CSV, Excel, JSON, or XML data. You create an application with Apex application wizard, and it will automatically generate an application blueprint for you, and based on the data that you've imported. So what you have seen is that it will automatically generate for you a home, navigation, a few pages with data visualization in different charts, data navigation, multiple dimensions using faceted search, interactive grids, etc. So the application as well, and I didn't show that it's also implements a responsive web design. So it means that you can easily access this application through a tablet and a mobile browser as well, without making additional efforts to actually make changes to the UI. So this basically happens in very little effort, and or even like, you can see quickly the results of your prototype or your application that you tend to build. as Apex is very data driven, so you can build data driven type of applications. You can build applications based on an upload of a CSV file, XML with your data, or you have already a schema in your database and you want to generate or build an application out of that. And also it provides, if you have a schema and you created a schema but you don't have data, it will help you to actually generate test data for you as well to be used. Yeah. Now, furthermore, we have seen the ability to actually go and extend your user experience. You have Theme Roller, which helps you to change your colors, layout, and styles. We have a page designer. If you can see that you can change your layouts, your application components, and functionality. There's also a function called icon builder, which helps you to actually start building icons or configuring icons that you would like to use for your application. Those are also like interactive icons, right? And there's a button builder as well that helps you to, design and style your button, and you can go and drop it into your application. Now, the other thing that I haven't shown is the productivity apps, right? So it comes with a number of those that are ready to use. You can basically simply install them from your Apex application gallery, and it works within minutes, right? Once it has the data, it has test data, and it has, of course, the whole application there. It offers a number of frequently used productivity apps like customer, opportunity, projects, incident trackers. They also can be used as a baseline, for your application, and you can modify it and make it fit for your purpose. So these productivity applications can be used to, demonstrate the high quality of Apex applications that can be used and produced in with this platform. It comes with a lot of UX elements, such as maps, tree, calendars, card, timeline charts. These rich UX elements will help you to make your application more engaging and also provide you the functionality that you most probably are looking for building into your app. So you can install one of these sample applications to actually experience these UX elements, and they can, basically help you to build your next application or design your next application within Apex. Now, what we have seen, and I had some connection issue with my system there, but basically Apex will also help you to actually expose your data into REST API services, and from there you can actually go and reuse that data into different channels. For example, a digital assistant. You can connect digital assistant to your Apex data through REST services. And of course, you can also go and connect it to a native mobile application built for iOS or Android. We at Oracle, we have different platform tooling for you to do that as well. Like, for example, Oracle Digital Assistant and Visual Builder to help you actually build native applications and connect to REST API endpoints for that. Yeah. Further, you can also connect to, of course, other or you can use other technology to actually connect to your data as well through this REST API. Yeah. Now, this takes us to the various resources that we would like to share with you. So have a look at it. There's autonomous database. Go to apex.oracle.com. There you can find heaps of videos and examples, and even like hands-on labs that you can use to get started or to get more familiar with building application within Apex. There are blogs where specialists are helping and sharing information and typical use cases. And of course, there's a large Apex community that you can actually go and ask questions. Yeah. Now, this was what I would like to share with you today. Here's like a URL for the Apex community. I think back to you.
Awesome. Thank you, Rodney. This presentation will be sent out shortly to your emails that you used to register for the webinar. And with that being said, DZone would like to thank you again, Rodney, for a phenomenal presentation. Secondly, DZone would also like to thank Oracle for sponsoring the webinar. We hope everyone learned something new today that will help you in your developer careers. Have a great day.